International Committee of the Red Cross's head of delegation in Southern Africa, Mamadou Sow, visited the Kingdom of Eswatini this past week. Mr. Sow held meetings with the Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini and other government stakeholders. He joins us now to tell us more about the meeting. Mr. Sow, very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to The Full View.
Good evening, sir, and pleasure to be with you and your viewers.
What is the purpose of the visit and what were your findings?
So the purpose of our visit here was twofold. One is it was a normal visit of what we call humanitarian diplomacy. I came to the kingdom to meet with the leadership, to continue to admonish them to ratify and adopt certain international treaties, including the nuclear weapon ban, the arms treaty, and chemical weapons treaty. And this, I hope that, like the rest of Africa, they will send a strong message to the rest of the world that the possession, the use of these weapons are absolutely unacceptable in our world today. The second part of our visit was to really support the Bapalani Red Cross Society here in the Kingdom of Eswatini, because it is a frontline organization, it is our sister organization, and we want to make sure that it's strong, able to respond to emergency when need be.
You speak of this visit being a humanitarian visit, and I suppose that humanitarian means that it is broad-based, and we understand that you only met government officials. Any plans to meet all the other stakeholders to get a balanced understanding of the humanitarian situation in that country?
Yes, I mean, we are the International Committee of the Red Cross. We are part of the international movement of Red Cross and Red Crescent movement. The Bapalani Eswatini Red Cross Society is part of our global movement, and they are part of the society of the country. So when we come to a country and we interact with the leadership of the country, and we interact indeed with all the segments, including civil societies, pro-democracy movement, and so on. We met all those we could meet to discuss the need to support the Red Cross, to support Bapalani, to make sure that it remains the very strong organization that it is today, one that we are very proud to call one of the strongest in Southern Africa today.
You know, the pro-democracy demonstrations and the deadly violence that erupted in Eswatini last year, and we still continue to get reports that there's pockets of violence in the different areas. And I suppose this has deepened the country's economic and the humanitarian crisis, but without forcing any reform of the royal establishment. Only time will tell when the violence against civilians will end, and we see continued assault of citizens, with the international community seemingly quiet about it. So what, in your view, would end the violence? Because it indicated that you've met some of the pro-democracy movements and civil society organizations, and who are some of these people that you've met?
This is a very good question, and this is precisely why I came here to engage with all these actors in the country. As you know, the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, it's a neutral movement. It's a neutral organization, it's an impartial organization, and it does not take part in any political contestation whatsoever. And that is what allows us to be able to give first aid when there is tension on the ground. And so my meeting with all these actors was, again, to reaffirm and reiterate our neutrality, the way we work, so that people understand how we work. Because so that tomorrow, when we, and especially the Bapalani Red Cross Society, when it moves to respond to some clashes on the ground, it can treat equally an injured police officer, and as it can treat an injured pro-democracy activist.
Okay.
And this will not make, this will not mean that we take side in this contestation. And when we have this kind of understanding, we can do our work with absolute neutrality and impartiality.
Okay, all right. Fair enough, fair point. And a huge chunk of the population is impoverished and donor dependent. And each year, you know, I do understand a significant number of its citizens require food assistance provided by international agencies. And donor funding is already strained and problematic, mainly due to COVID-19. So how does the International Committee of the Red Cross step in to assist?
What you've described is true, probably globally. We have COVID-19, now we have, unfortunately, the war taking place in Ukraine. and it's exacerbating already a very difficult social environment across Africa. What the Red Cross does is that we are very close to the local population. The Bapalani Red Cross Society is called Bapalani because it's the first on the ground, the first to respond, the last to go. And we target our assistance where it's needed the most. And yesterday I had really good meetings with the Deputy Prime Minister, and we reflected around the experience of the Red Cross, how in many communities supporting women is a powerful way of building the resilience of those communities, and the Red Cross will continue to do that. It doesn't exonerate men, but we have learned from experience that when you work in communities trying to up their resilience, the more you support women, the better it is. Women, they tend to spend an upward 90% of all the support they receive from humanitarian actors to the healthcare, to the education, and to the nutrition of their children. And that's why we believe in that.
Mr. Sow, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That was Mamadou Sow, the head of delegation in Southern Africa of the International Committee of the Red Cross, just taking us through the delegation's visit to the Kingdom of Eswatini in the past week.